Hello there everyone, my name is Brother Birch. In this video we're going to go through the Lesson 3 proof assignment. For this one there's a lot going on here. I'm going to go ahead and just do this one here in the video as we kind of go along with this together. So step 1, create the homepage for your WWR project. It'll be an index.html file for our WDD 130 repository's homepage. We know homepage for just the WWR project as well. This will be the homepage for the whitewater rafting site. Add a new file within the WWR folder called index.html. So I'm going to split this again like I usually do. If it'll let me, there we go. Okay, and I made this index.html a few days ago, but I am going to make a new one for inside of WWR. Okay, so this one will be the homepage for the WWR website. Use the shortcut. Nice. I'm going to close this for now. We don't need that up for the moment. Okay, change the title. So I'm going to say whitewater rafting home or something like any one of these. Okay. Let's see here. Framing with semantics. A lot like building a house. We've already built these. Take a moment to review the wireframe again to help remember what we were trying to do. We need to add some markup to create containers in our HTML. So things like this. W3 Schools has some good resources here to kind of show where you might put things. Let's look at our site plan real fast. So I'm going to click on my site plan and I'm going to open this up with Live Server, just because this is where one of the locations that I can see that wireframe. And so I'm going to scroll down and I'm just going to kind of look at this wireframe for a sec and kind of see how we want to build this out. Okay, so we have this nav bar at the top. If I look over here, we'll definitely want a header. And we'll definitely want a nav bar. And so inside the body, I'm going to go ahead and put header, and I'll just leave it for now. And I'll go ahead and put nav, and I'll leave that for now as well. If I wanted to test this out, I could maybe put in like a nav test and a header test. And we could just kind of see like what this looks like. So I could open up this with Live Server as well. And you can see right now it doesn't really look like much, right? But with some CSS, with some buttons or other things, it would look quite a bit different. Okay, but that'll give us this top portion. We might not end up using the header. This looks like this just has a nav bar, but we can leave it there for now. It's not hurting anything. Okay, next up we have this section thing right here, which will work out really nicely for this section of our code. So I'm going to go ahead and just say section, and I'll go ahead and put in that lorem ipsum stuff right there. And looking at that, it looks like I'll fill out this just a little bit more. I'll go ahead and put in that H1 there, and maybe we have like something like an H4. I'll just say like smaller header, and then we'll have like a button, some button. Okay, and again, we don't have any CSS, so this isn't going to be centered at all. But we're just kind of going for the content at this point, right? And then we'll kind of fill it out as we go. Okay, and then we have some other stuff in this section. I'll probably just make another section right here for this guy, right? And so for this, what I'd probably want to do, if we look back at this W3 Schools thing, you know, we have quite a few different tags in here. The one that I would probably go with for each one of these, I would put each one of these into a div. And it looks like, actually, I wonder if, okay. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, so let's go through our instructions here. Sorry about that, you guys. All right, add an image element for the logo. Okay, the first element we need is at the top of the page. Notice that there's a box around the logo navigation bar. Those elements are related and form the header of the page. Add the header tag. Check, we did that. Add an image element for the logo. Let's give it a class of logo. So I'll go ahead and I'll just type in image logo and hit tab, and we want to differentiate this image from all the others. We'll eventually have the logo inside the images folder. won't show up until we do that. We will add the source attribute and value as this, and we always need the attribute. So for the alt, I'll go ahead and say dry or logo, and let's just make sure that we have an image inside of here. Okay, good, we have that logo. And so I'll just say /images logo.png. And so now if we pull up our website, you can see we have that header, we have that image showing up there. And so we're off to a good start. Okay, usually expect the logo to take them to the home page. So we will make the image element the content of an A tag. And so outside of this, I'm going to make an A tag. And I'm going to say, I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to move this up. Okay. And so the only thing inside the A tag is just going to be this logo. And this really won't make the site look any different. Like, it still looks the same. But now you can see I can hover over this, and I can actually click on it, and it will do something if I give it a link, right? And so for this href, I'm just going to say we can just put this index.html right here, and it'll find that index file. Okay. All right. The nav element is the perfect semantic tag for the navigation or menu. 4 pages eventually, so we'll need to add 4 A elements inside the nav. Okay. So I'm just going to type in A, and actually I'm going to undo that. I'm going to put this on a new line, A, and then I'll hit Control-C, V, V, V a few times. So we have 4 of those. And for each one of these, let's see here. Yeah, we'll just kind of follow along with this right here. Okay, so we'll have home and page 2, which we'll worry about later, and the site plan, and contact us. Okay, go ahead and put our links in here. I'll say contactus.com or .html, and site plan rafting.html. Hey, we actually have that page. And we don't have anything there yet, and we'll have just the index.html for that one. Okay, sweet, we're off to a good start. If we look at our page here, notice I'm looking at this a lot. I should actually be able to click on this button now, and it should take me, to our site plan, so that's great. Okay, let's keep on going here. Tip, there will be a lot of code examples in this and other lessons. Avoid the temptation of just copy and paste. Try to type them out. Okay, hero, let's add a container for the hero image and message. The role of hero image is to welcome visitors. Okay, so let's make a div with an ID of hero. And so let's go ahead and change this one. If we look at the site plan here, it's talking about this section right here. So instead of having this be a section, I'm just going to say, let's make this a div with an ID of hero. Okay, make sure that changed as well. So I have div for both of those. Holding our hero image. Okay, I'm just going to look back at that. Okay, let's go ahead and make that second div. And so it says, give it an ID with hero box. Okay, so we have that ID, and that should have an image with an ID of hero image. Okay, and then we're just going to say images /hero.png. And the alt description will be people enjoying rafting. I'll go ahead and save that. I'm going to close this for now just so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, notice if I pull up our website right here, it'll show us that alt tag because I don't have an image there for it yet. Okay. A section with the idea of hero message. Okay, so this is not going to be inside the div. We're going to go ahead and say section. And these hotkeys that I'm using, it's actually something built into VS Code called Emmet. And so I can just say, hey, I have a section, but I'm going to give it an ID of hero message. And then I can just hit tab, and it makes me a section with that ID. Okay, it says it has an H1 with a class, so I'm going to put a period for the class, home title. I'll hit tab, and then we have that H1. And I'll say have an adventure for the content. Also an H4. And it says make memories with dry or. Lastly, a div with a that will hold a button. Okay, so I'm going to delete these, and then I'm going to make us a div. And then that button, let's go ahead and give it that class. We'll just say class equals button box. Okay, a div that will hold the button with a link with class button. Okay, so I'm assuming that the div is going to have the class button box. Okay, the A will have class book, button with a link. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just put an A out here so that the whole button is included in it. And right here, I am going to give it that class of book. Oh, that keeps on moving around for me. Okay, and then contact us.html. And it says book now. Okay. Whenever you want to move multiple elements together, like all the hero text, you should group them by placing them inside of the other element, like we have with the section hero message. Okay. This right here, I'm going to move up into the section and see how it looks for us. Perfect. Okay. Oh, but they don't have an actual button. Okay, so we'll just change that to rates. We'll take out this button. Book now, book, class, button box, that looks better. Okay, sweet, let's keep on going. Main, next, let's add an area where the main content will go for this page. Probably this stuff down here, okay? And so if we look here at what's changing, we just have this main with class of home grid. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just go below this hero div right here, and I'm just going to say main class home grid tab. And I'm going to delete my section from earlier. Okay, things that we need inside of our main element. Let's just kind of go along with this guy right here. So we'll have image card image. Okay, we'll have an image icon, and we'll have H2 rapids. Okay, right here for this, we'll say /images rapids.jpg, and then this source will be images ors.png. Notice this / and this without the / they will both work just fine. Okay, and then the alt right here, we'll go ahead and say rafting boat and oars icon. Okay, and I'll save this and I'll just look at it and I'll see a bunch of images that we don't have yet, and that's okay. Okay, let's keep on going. All right, below we have the card sections. We'll have an image and a section containing an H2, P, and A with the classes as shown below. And so inside of home grid, okay, we're going to have a section for each card. Okay, and so right here, we have this one for rapids, and that is just a single card, right? And so I'll say section class rapids card, and I'll move that down here. Okay, and there's our first card. And so if I look at this, like really doesn't look like very much, but we have those two images. We have the H2, and so this whole thing right now is inside of that one section. And so if you look at our site plan, imagine if I actually had a nice image and a nice icon and that H2. That's what it'll look like with a little bit of CSS help. Okay. These other ones I'll go ahead and copy just for the sake of time. I would encourage you guys to actually type these out, get practice typing them out, get practice making errors and finding and fixing errors. The last thing here, so we have our three sections. We'll go ahead and make that image class of mountains. And the source is images /mountains.jpg. And the alt is Misty Mountains, I think. Yep, okay, cool. All right, after that we have section class of message, and in there we'll have an H2, more than just a thrill, and a paragraph, and we'll have that A with a join class and rivers.html, and the content in there will be join us. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this right here for a paragraph, so I don't have to type that out. Okay, and I'll save it and see what we're looking like. Nice, it's looking great. Okay, so if we look over here, yeah, we're coming along nicely. Okay, next up we need a footer. So this will be below our main section. So we have this main section right here. Notice how this is kind of split up. So we have this header, we have this nav, this div and main. I wonder if that div is supposed to be inside of main. Let's look real fast. I don't want to mislead you guys. Nope. Okay. All right. For footer, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm not going to type this out just for the sake of time. I am going to copy this. Okay, and then I'm just going to save it, and let's just check, make sure it looks okay. Okay, this is looking awesome. All right, next up, if we look at the page, all of our images will be broken. Yep. Adding images. There are images provided for this home page, but you are welcome to add your own images to your page. Just remember to change your code to reference your images. Okay, so finding your own images. Okay, here are the links to all the images on the home page. Once you open the link and see the image, just right-click the images and choose Save Images As. All right. We don't need that one. We have our logo. I'm just going to open up all these real fast. Okay, go to this one. I'm going to say Save Image As, and I'm going to go to my project folder here, WDD 130, WDD 130, WWR, images, and save. And save image as. We should already be in that folder now. And I'll close that one. Save image as. Okay, let's check our website here. I'm seeing images. Looks like we're missing a few of them. Let's see if there are any instructions on that. Alternatively, there are optimized images that we can use, validate your HTML, and submit it in iLearn. So these images right here don't appear to be showing up the way that we want them to. Yeah. So what I would want to do, first I might just search for like river in forest over here. And I can see that we have this images / rivers.jpg. And so I just want to look here. We have images / rivers.jpg. Oh, so mine saved it with an E in the JPEG. Okay, so I would just change that or rename this. Okay, looks like we have the river icon, and then we have the tent and mountains. So images / camping. I'm going to look for camping. Yeah, same thing. That's interesting. So that's probably the same issue there. Because we have a rapids.jpg with an E. And we have that Misty Mountains, JPG, Mountains JPEG. Okay. And I'll just save this, and there we go. We have our images showing up. Okay, I can also check, sometimes our websites get pretty big. I can also right-click on here and hit inspect. And if I look in the console and there aren't any errors showing up, that's awesome. If I undo these things from just now and I hit save, then we get these errors saying, hey, we can't find these images, okay? And so usually when I'm writing code, I'll leave this open just so I can see errors as they come up. But anyways, that is it for this. So let's look at our final instructions here. Let me close that. Oh, I think I accidentally closed our instructions here. All right, so it looks like that. That's like what ours looks like. That's awesome. Okay, validate it at w3.org. And so I'm just going to copy this whole thing. I'll say validate by direct input, and I'll just paste it and hit check. And if you see green here, that's a happy thing. It means you don't have to fix anything. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here, push your change to GitHub, make sure that it shows up in the project. And so I'm just going to come over here and I'll say finishing lesson 3 prove. And I'll say sync changes. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to close all of these. I don't need them anymore. And I'm just going to look at GitHub. And I'll hit refresh. We should see another commit 12 seconds ago. Good. Okay. I should be able to look in here. We have our index file. Good. And we should have a bunch of images. Nice. That looks awesome. Okay. So I'll just give GitHub a second, and then we'll go ahead and check our URL. Okay, so I just checked it. My WDD 130 folder, WWR, and I could put index.html right here. It does make a difference. If you don't put it, it'll look for that index.html, which is right here, and I can kind of see that file path here as well. Okay, and so we have all this here. Everything's looking really great. I should be able to click on this site plan link, and it'll take me there on my actual website. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.